Recap Show, presented by Lawlers Barbecue. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Drew DeArmond and Steve Moulton.
Down pickup, or second down right here for the Tide. Second and goal from the 10. Quarterback keep right side. Milroe cuts it back now, cuts to the edge. He's at the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Jalen Milroe stopped and started twice. The 10-yard carry finds pay dirt, and Alabama takes a 6-3 lead. Bulls just 1 for 9 on third down today. Getting the snap, Brown feels pressure. Tim Smith in the backfield. The Crimson Tide will wrap up Byron Brown and bring him down to the turf. Second sack of the ball game for the Crimson Tide. On McGuffrey's sack count, it's fourth down. So with 3 right, 1 left, single set back to the left of Brown. He gets the snap. Pressure coming up the middle. He's going to be down at the 23-yard line. The sack for the Crimson Tides, Tim Keenan the third. That is the third of the game. Haynes, the running back, to the right. Milroe gets the snap, trying to avoid the rush. Steps forward, fires a pass. Catch is made, breaking a tackle into the end zone. Touchdown. Kobe Prentice, the Calera native, adds to the Bama lead. It's a 7-point advantage with the extra point pending. Brown waiting on the snap with 3 wide outs to the right, 1 to the left. Gets the snap, looking, firing across the middle, incomplete, and Alabama will take over on downs. Jam Miller, the running back, to the left of Milroe. He'll get the handoff. He'll stay on his feet. He'll turn it up. He'll go down the sideline. 30, cutting it back, 25, 20, 15, 10-5. Touchdown, Alabama. Jam Miller, 56 yards, icing on the cake as the Tide leads it now, 34-16. Milroe will hand it off to Justice Haynes, going right side, cuts it back, stays on his feet. Haynes at the 10, Haynes at the 5, Haynes into the end zone, touchdown, Alabama, 29 yards. Crimson Tide, this time of Coach Kalen DeBoer, able to walk off the field at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium with a 42-16 victory.
Those are the calls from Learfield, and we welcome you in here this Saturday morning, along with Drew DeArmond, Steve Moulton here with you. 42-16 is the final score, but there was a lot of nervous Alabama fans, I would imagine, down at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. But 28 points in the fourth quarter. Drew DeArmond, where do you want to start, sir?
I just want to start with football is built inside out. It's a line of scrimmage game.
Yeah, it is.
Alabama, for the first 3 quarters, the offensive line was atrocious. They lost the battle of the line of scrimmage. They got no movement. The pass protection was shoddy at best. And it was a burn-the-tape game for Gino Vandemark, who right now, to me, can't play dead in a B Western. He had 4 penalties. This is his first extensive action since transferring from Michigan State. He was horrendous. Not bad, horrendous. He was probably the worst of the 5, in my opinion. Wilkin Formby, who I can give a pass to a little bit, he's a redshirt freshman who's only in his second start ever.
Yeah.
He struggled. I mean, but Vandemark's the one that got everything off to the horrendous start.
Yeah.
Penalty after penalty in the first quarter. I know he hadn't been here very long. I think he got here in June after transferring from Michigan State. But I don't give a pass to guys who were like 4th and 5th and 6th year guys. You know, you got to execute. You're an old guy, and you're getting used to your surroundings, but you got to play better than that. That was horrible, okay? And if you're getting paid NIL money, your ass is getting called out. You know,
I totally agree.
I'm not saying about I'm not going to say the offensive line as a whole, which they weren't good, okay? But I want to call out individual guys. You want to wear T-shirts with people's name on it?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You sucked. And Vandemark was not very good at all. And Formby struggled. It was definitely a burn-the-tape game for the kid.
But you can definitely tell he is young.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's young. And I think a couple of them were ticky-tack. But see,
Yeah.
here it is in football. This is how it goes. and Alabama wasn't sharp in the first 3 quarters of this game. It's almost like an avalanche when you start making mistakes and you start getting penalties. It's like it's just like a whole team getting hot shooting a basketball, or a whole team getting hot executing on offense.
Yeah.
You just start shooting yourself in the foot, and then it's almost like paralysis by analysis. And I just thought it kind of got in Alabama's heads a little bit, and the officials were calling it very close. Because I talked to some people in the press box, like the 75-yard touchdown run for Milroe, they called for me for holding there.
Yeah.
And I talked to a couple people, and they said, yeah, technically it's a hold, but I've seen a lot worse not get called.
Yeah.
So it's just depending on – you almost have to adjust to the crew, and then talking to Parker Brailsford after the game, it's just all – I asked him about, how did you keep, the guys like Geno Vandermark and Form, how do you keep their confidence up? Because they both had, 4 penalties apiece. And he was just like, basically, we don't really worry about that. Because we know, in other words, just mental toughness, just keep plugging. And I think that's what Alabama did. And you saw in the fourth quarter when they finally cleaned up the penalties that it was very explosive. They outscored them.
And when Pritchard came in, too, that was a big drive.
I was about to say, and then this is another thing. Elijah Pritchard, they were trying to, hold him out, but they're also, I think, sending a message like, grow up, okay? Show some toughness and grow up. Because there's one thing that was definitely made readily apparent, and I'll give BamaOnline.com a shout out from On3. They were the one that kind of leaked out the fact a couple hours before the game that Booker had spent most of the week at left tackle. Vandermark was going to be at left guard because Pritchett was a little banged up. Plus, I think they were trying to send him a message, kind of like the one they sent Jalen Milroe a year ago. Like, you've got to play better. You've got to be a leader. Grow up. And Milroe totally did. He got the message. Well, hopefully Elijah Pritchett got the message this year because he was dominant the last 6 minutes. He was, again, he's always been a guy that didn't pay attention to detail at times. And he's very talented. He should be one of these first or second round draft picks and play in the NFL. And he played with a lot of anger and emotion when he finally got in, which is good. But they need him right now because, Proctor might be back next week. I would still be surprised, honestly, but they may try to get him some reps before Georgia in a real game.
Yeah.
But they at very least need Pritchett. It's painfully
obvious.
After
Wisconsin is a bye week.
That is. But Booker is a guard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He tried very hard. He's a leader. He certainly gave effort, but he's not a tackle. Okay. And this whole game kind of reminded me, even though Alabama lost this game handily, it reminded me of the 2008 Sugar Bowl when Andre Smith got hurt.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson got moved to, right tackle from left guard, and they were moving people all around. And it just was awful. They couldn't gain any consistency. And this was the same kind of game. And Milroe was inaccurate last night for the first 3 quarters. They were scattershot and inconsistent. And then it was kind of a couple games combined. It also reminded me of Ole Miss in 2015. You're coming out of the locker room. You're trying to gain the momentum. You get a really good kickoff return from Kendrick Law until he fumbles the ball.
Yeah.
And then you have 3 turnovers, 2 in the third quarter, and then the one at the very start of the fourth where you fumble. And that was on Milroe. That was on Milroe.
Yeah.
People ask me, why are you getting him under center? I don't care if he's under center. I don't care if he's in the shotgun. That's his fault. It's not the center. Everybody wanted to hate on McLaughlin last year, and Milroe owned it in the media room. That's on him. Yeah. Execute the plan. But I will say this: the very next drive, it felt like Milroe was angry, and he executed. They had 2 good runs.
Well, that's the drive that Pritchett came in as well.
Yeah, Jam Miller ran angry because he had fumbled in the third quarter, and then great ball to Ryan Williams. He makes the guy miss, and miraculously the officials don't throw a flag. And you score a touchdown, and then you step on them a little bit because it's 28-16, and they were having trouble moving the football. I think
the targeting call.
Yeah, the targeting call. I'm not going to get.
No. I thought that was targeting when I first saw it. I did just because of how I've talked to too many officials about the head going down.
I'm not going to say anything and criticize that one. I mean, it's just it is. I
thought that was the correct call.
It is what it is.
I thought that was the correct call.
It was close,
but what I had a bigger issue with, I know you were there at the stadium, is Jesse Palmer saying they should go for it on 4th down at that point. I don't know if I didn't agree with it then. I know Alabama took control of it, But I was under the opinion that South Florida needed to take points where they could get points.
Well, I thought they would go for it just simply
They
because they had trouble in the red zone all game, but I wasn't sure if they were going to have another opportunity, quite frankly. And I thought, well, they need 8 points to tie it.
Yeah.
But I also understand Alex Golish's thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, Alabama had up to that point been their own worst enemy.
Exactly.
They had been turning the ball over, so we need 11 points.
Yeah.
So or
Yeah.
10, 11 points here.
Yeah.
So we're going to just kick it, and then if we can score, get the ball back and score a touchdown, we can take the lead. So we need either 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And so let's get, in other words, 2 scores. So we need these points here, and they took it. But then Alabama did what you're supposed to do. They responded, and they played angry the rest of the fourth quarter. And I thought that was a good sign. In other words, there was no hang dogging. I mean, they were just like, hey, let's get our bleep together.
Yeah.
And then let's start playing. And I think Milroe had a lot to do with that. And again, like I said, I've always said this, Jalen Milroe is the QB of this team. He will always be. There's people calling for Ty Simpson last night, when he was struggling. It's not going to happen. He's a 2-time captain. And like, Kalen DeBoer said after the game, he wanted the football. He's a competitor. It's just, now sometimes I think he almost gets overly juiced up, but I thought he settled down last night. Everybody just calm down and execute. You're better than this team, and just finish them off. It's like the old Mortal Kombat. Finish him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do and move on. Find a way to win and just move on from this. The biggest thing that needs to come out of this game is Elijah Pritchett needs to grow up. Okay? He needs to become a pro, grow up, pay attention to detail, and do your job and be either the left tackle or the right tackle for this football team. Honestly, with the big picture, after what I saw last night, Wilkin Formby is going to be a good player. But let's not misunderstand.
Freshman.
People are wanting to, take 75 out. You got another guy, a redshirt freshman, Miles McVay, who's not ready.
Yeah.
You've got a transfer in Naquil Bertrand, who's basically a second-year guy who had spent 1 year today. He's not ready. The one thing we made readily apparent is with the transfer portal era, your depth is eroded, and again, they just don't have enough proven depth at offensive tackle right now. That with injuries and Pritchett having some immaturity. And with the injury to Caden Proctor, you just don't have depth right now at tackle. And so you saw that last night, that even against South Florida, who is a pretty good football team, I don't know that they're a great team. They probably got a chance to be a bowl team, but you're going to struggle. So you need Proctor to get back as healthy as he can. And then it's very, very important that Elijah Pritchett takes this message and does what Jalen Milroe did a year ago, because this team can be great, but he has to want to be great. He's a redshirt sophomore who's technically eligible for the NFL draft. How much do you want to play? Because I want to tell you something about the NFL right now. Saw Jackson Roby from the Reese's Senior Bowl in the press box last night. In the NFL right now, the top 4 positions or top 5, whatever you want to say, in my opinion, for money to get paid, and we've been seeing it, quarterback is always number 1.
Yeah.
But second is right and left tackle. It doesn't matter which side.
Yeah.
I mean, you are getting paid buku dollars to play on the perimeter to protect everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. And then definitely I would probably say the third would be pass rusher. You're trying to get after the quarterback, and then it would be corner and then wide receiver, because corner, it's a passing league. They want guys that can play shut down. Look at Patrick Surtain, the money he's getting, and then these wide receivers. Those are your money positions right now in the NFL. They don't value running backs, okay? They just don't. They haven't for a long time. They don't value guards as much, or centers, things of that nature. I'm not disrespecting them, even middle linebackers. But Elijah Pritchett plays a primo position where you can make $30 million a year.
You're talking money. I mean, that's what you're talking.
NIL money is peanuts compared to what you can make with this stuff.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that comes out of this football game is Elijah Pritchett needs to step up, because Alabama has to have their tackles healthy if they want to win a national championship or win an SEC title or make the college football playoff at the very least. Because, again, Jalen Milroe, he struggled a little bit last night. I thought He didn't step up in the pocket at times, but I think some of that was they didn't trust the protection, because the protection had been so
3 sacks
scattershot.
and 6 tackle for losses will do that to you.
And again, he needs the running game to be effective, whether he's running it or the tailbacks. In South Florida, to their credit, they smelled blood early, and they were stopping the run. And Alabama did not get a first down in the third quarter till the very end of the quarter. And I think, and so that's what I'm saying. That's where it became a stalemate. But cream rises to the top, and Alabama showed a lot of mental toughness, I think, to fight through everything. But again, they need to grow as a team, and Elijah Pritchett needs to grow up and play NFL-type football.
Here is head coach Kalen DeBoer.
All right, you bet. Obviously, going to the fourth quarter, 14-13, and, in a fight. And so, tip of the cap to USF for fighting, but also, there's many things that we look at that are things we got to definitely clean up. We talked down in the locker room about learning the lessons about the things that didn't go right, but also understand if we just keep fighting, good things can happen. And in the fourth quarter, staying away from the penalties and turnovers, it's amazing what can happen. And so defense did a nice job forcing some field goals. And just as we went through the game there in fourth quarter, I think those were key, so scoring touchdowns and finishing drives other than the fumble, which was certainly unfortunate. Getting a lot of things we need to clean up. Guys, you got to do a better job when they make a big play. You got to tuck it away. All the things we work on, all the things we discuss, going to be, a lot to learn from. And so excited about the challenge, the opportunity, because that's what this is. And I think you need games like this, and this isn't a wake up call or nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's just just keep raising the standard. I think this game last year was an important one, that propelled them last year. It'd probably be the same thing this year. That's my hope. Questions?
The start in front without Chase. Right here.
What are some of the things that you do in practice with ball security, limiting turnovers? Is that something that'll be more of a focal point this coming week?
Yeah, I mean every day there's something, but Tuesdays is a big time priority. We start the week off with that, and there's other things. I mean, it is we talk about the ball as a program, and how important it is taking care of it, and also getting it. And so really we won't have to raise the level of how much we stress it, because we stress it significantly. And so, it's guys just learning, that when you make a big play, there's people behind you, they're chasing you, they're coming from all angles, and we got to do a better job being conscious of that. And, this guy's got out of their game a little bit, and got a little loose with it. So we'll watch on film. I don't know exactly how the fumbles were created, but, a lot of the things we talk about, I think, are what happened.
Still on the left side there.
Yeah, I don't think we saw Elijah Pritchett on offense until about 6 minutes left. What went into him not playing until then, kind of then inserting him at that point?
Yeah, he got last game, just a minor ding, and we were trying to get through it. He didn't practice much early in the week, but practiced Wednesday and Thursday, and so was ready to go. Probably worked a little bit more on the left side, and we felt good, after the week was we've gone through the week that we were just going to roll with what we had with Book and Gino, but he was ready to go. He could have started the game, and we were just trying to hold on as long as possible. Just try to keep him 100% healthy. He got through just fine tonight, and I think we're going to be in better shape offensive line wise going into next week. So it was a little touch and go there at some points during the week with a few different guys.
That is a little bit of Coach Kalen DeBoer post game after Alabama wins 42-16. But there is, if you think about 13 penalties, 5 of 13 on third down conversions as well, 3 turnovers. And I tell you, it's 42-16. You're probably thinking it's the other team that won 42-16. If I just gave you those numbers of penalties, third down conversions, and the turnovers.
This was a crew that was hit flag happy, though. I mean, it's not like they didn't call anything on South
Oh,
Florida.
yeah, 11 penalties for South Florida.
11 penalties for 92 yards for the Bulls. So
Yeah.
they definitely, and they called back a long run that would have dug them out of a hole they called holding.
Yeah.
But again,
44-yard run, if memory serves.
One of the underlying key stats, though, is I talked to Tim Keenan about this. Alabama played really good defense in the red zone. They made them settle for 3 field goals, 3 short ones, and they held them to 2 for 18 on third down.
They did.
I mean, South Florida didn't do much through the air. They rushed for 200 yards. Byron Brown, his mobility hurt Alabama a little bit, but again, so much of defense. It's not bend but don't break so much, but when they get in the red zone, make them settle for 3, and they did that, and they were able to keep South Florida at arm's length. And the closest they got was 14-13, even though they did lead briefly 3-0 before Alabama answered to make it 7-3 and never trailed again in the football game. But like I said, I thought they did get enough pressure on Brownie. They sacked him 3 times. They certainly made him feel him, but holding them to 2 for 18 was huge. And again, most of the runs were either QB draws or broken plays. I thought they did get the edges a couple times on the zone read, but overall, though, I thought it was a good defensive effort because they were put in a bad spot, especially with those 3 turnovers and the quick turnaround, the quick change, as you call it. And I thought for the most part, Alabama responded, except for one time where South Florida converted a third down, one of the few they converted and scored their only touchdown of the football game. But then South Florida got a big penalty. They were going to try to go for 2 to tie it at 14.
Yeah.
They got penalized and then decided just to kick the extra point, which was probably a wise move by Golish because they were still very much in the game. And they had all the momentum.
They certainly did.
Because, Alabama had, been sloppy with the ball, Kendrick Law fumbling. But then the one they capitalized on was Jam Miller, fumbling the football. And like Coach DeBoer said, DeBoer, they got a little loosey-goosey with the football. And so you gotta calm down, you gotta execute. And I thought they did. They're a very explosive offense when they don't make mistakes. Yeah. Okay. And I'm talking about with both the run and the pass. Now I'll give South Florida credit. They got called for some penalties, and I think they just took them. Like Ryan Williams' magic is very tough to stop. He was he had them beat a couple times deep. They just grabbed it. In other words, just take the 15 yards. But Alabama wasn't really able to get their deep ball game going. No, that's one of Milroe's strengths. But they finally got the ball to Williams in space. He made a guy miss. The only, I thought negative thing offensively besides the penalties and the sloppiness with the turnovers. Unfortunately, they lost Cole Adams.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
When the way he went down, I was afraid he might be hurt, but it's not a leg injury. I think.
How he fell made me think he broke it initially.
Well, it's his shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just.
Well, I thought it was a lower leg. And in fact, that was what the announcer said.
He's hurt his shoulder in his senior year of high school. And then he got hurt last year. He just seems a little fragile. And we don't know how bad it is, but I don't think it's a stinger. Let's put it that way. I think it's a shoulder issue. Coach was saying they were going to have to get him more thoroughly checked out. We'll see. But I think the biggest underlying play in the fourth quarter that I'm going to piggyback off what I just said about Cole was Mbakwe. Yeah. Mbakwe got his second punt return, and he returned it 28 yards to the 34 to set Alabama up on the doorstep, man.
We talked a lot about him early in fall camp.
And so, see, you've still got him available. You've still got Ryan Williams. So you have some candidates. And let me give a shout out to South Florida. They played hard, and their punter was outstanding. The way he directionally punted the football, until that one punt where Mbakwe got a chance to return it, he did a great job of directionally punting and keeping it near the sideline. And, he was averaging, over 50 yards a punt for a while. He did a really nice job. The kicking game for South Florida, they missed one long field goal, but other than that, their kicking game was pretty dang solid.
That was Andrew Stokes punting it 9 times for an average of 44.1.
I didn't check it, but there was some Grammatica on the team, so it's probably another one. Maybe the son. I'm getting so old that when they started
grandson, man.
Hell, maybe. I just started thinking, the 2 Grammaticas. I never forget one of them tore their ACL celebrating.
Celebrating.
But I thought another Grammatica.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
We'll hear from Coach Saban, as it is now Saban Field.
Got to say hello to him. I thought I was privileged.
And we'll also hear from the locker room report, as Drew's already mentioned. We are capable of taking your phone calls if you're driving into church this morning or just out and about at 256-576-4977. It is the Bama Recap Show, presented by Lawlers BBQ.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Here in North Alabama, barbecue is a part of what makes our home so special, and great barbecue from Lawlers makes it just that much better. Since 1978, Lawlers has been serving up their delicious barbecued pork, ribs, chicken, ham, and turkey for generations of family get-togethers. Recognized as the best barbecue joint in Alabama for 2 years in a row, Lawlers is thrilled to share their award-winning barbecue for your next family meal or catered event. Order online or stop by any one of their 14 area locations. Lawlers Barbecue, cooked slow, served fast.
It's the dawning of a new age in Tuscaloosa.
I understand what Alabama football is all about. Roll Tide.
Join the Crimson Tide as the Kalen DuBois era begins.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide head north to the Badger State to take on Wisconsin. Our coverage begins at 8 a.m. on your home for Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budget and energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
This is Drew DeArmond of ESPN 97.7 The Zone's Talking Ball, and I'm here with Brandon Pilcher of Pilcher's Appraisals and Home Buying. Brandon, let everybody know what you do.
Drew, I'm a residential appraiser. I can come out and appraise your property, give you a value on it. And I also buy property. So if you have something you're wanting to move on the wholesale market without listing it, I can make you an offer on it and buy it direct.
And then tell them how to get in touch with you.
706-936-3766. Call or text.
Rocket City Federal Solutions, LLC is committed to streamlining engineering solutions for all aspects of installations and facilities construction and management worldwide with expertise and precision. These guys are great Americans, helping to keep us safe everywhere from right here in the Tennessee Valley. The team at Rocket City Federal Solutions is headed by CEO Jason Larson, and they have over 35 years combined experience handling projects all over the world. Learn more at RocketCityFederalSolutions.com. That's RocketCityFederalSolutions.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe. and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
I hope that this field being honored in our name is representative of how we represented you, the University of Alabama, but also that it represents all the players who played here and contributed to the success of the program, and all the coaches who worked to help those players be successful, and our administration, Greg, Dr. Bell, but most importantly, Mal Moore and Dr. Witt, who gave us the opportunity to come to the University of Alabama. And you, the fans, who've given us some of the greatest memories anybody could ever imagine by being your coach for 17 years in the greatest traditional program ever in America when it comes to football. We thank you so much. God bless you, and roll Tide.
That is Coach, now former Alabama head coach Nick Saban. That still feels weird to say.
The jet setting Nick Saban, because he's certainly jetting.
Yes, he is. But the ceremony last night, now it is Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And there was a little meme on Twitter of him shaking his head along the sideline. And I'm sure it may have been one of the 2 fumbles previous to that, or one of the 13 penalties, but after the last fumble, it was touchdown. So there was a correction there in the fourth quarter.
Well, I've been doing this nearly 10 years, and one of the first guests I had, and it was my first football season, and during that season and then that summer, as we were preparing for Alabama football in 2015, was Maxwell Brusky from the Buck Around podcast with Wisconsin, and of course it's come full circle. They want me to come back on with them this week.
Nice.
And he sent me a message this morning. He said, we were very encouraged for 2.5 quarters. And then the explosion happened. So, and we know Luke Fickell's rebuilding that program.
They defeated South Dakota 27-13, but we'll go over Wisconsin here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I did want to get into the locker room report. First up, is someone you waited on. That is Jalen Milroe. First question came from our very own Drudy Armand.
Jalen, what was the key to getting the rhythm in the fourth quarter offensively?
Having a 1-0 mentality throughout the whole game, having an optimistic mindset. Something good is about to happen. I think that was the biggest thing when we try to refocus as we get off the field, having an optimistic mindset, just trying to approach each play, just going 1-0 mentality-wise.
Jalen, what are your thoughts on the defense's performance tonight?
When we talk about team, that's very important, especially when you can lean on each other throughout the whole football game. Proud of those guys for their grit, their determination, and how hard they play together. It's definitely something that we can, get our fuel off of, how well they play. So I'm super proud of them.
What was it like at halftime? What was the message from the coaching staff?
I think it was just refocusing. We can't get those plays back. It's all about uncontrollables, controllables. We can control how we approach the field as we got out of halftime. So that was the biggest thing. It's all about refocusing.
Jalen, when you guys pulled ahead at the end, what did you learn about your team with the way you guys finished?
We learned that you don't win a game in 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. You win it in all 4 phases. So just see the guys just have tremendous grit and pull out a win like that. Just shows the toughness and the want to, in a sense. So I'm just proud of those guys for how hard they kept on back in, throughout the whole game.
You have grit too. Ryan Williams with that big touchdown catch at the end of the game. Just to have that youth and just that connection between you guys, what does that mean?
It goes all about practice reps and repetition. I think that's a big, key component when it comes to playing on Saturdays is the reps during the week. And it factors into, how well he plays and how confident he is as a player. And so, when we have moments like that, we can distribute the ball to our playmakers. It's all about trust and then falling back to our level of training.
And I saw you talking to Coach DeBoer at the end of the third quarter. What was his message going in there for you guys offensively?
Biggest thing was want to know, flipping the page on each drive. Even when we had touchdowns, the next play, having that optimistic mindset throughout the whole game. So it was awesome to just have the feedback with him throughout the whole game. He's just a key resource for our offense moving forward.
That is a little bit there from Jalen Milroe. Did I hit any other highlights that I need to get to in there, Drew, or is
that's good stuff.
Okay.
I mean, Milroe stood, and I mean,
I didn't listen to the full thing, but it's on SoundCloud for those that want to hear the entire.
And he did own the fumble exchange. Okay?
Well, how could he not? The ESPN cameras zoomed in so tight that you knew it was on Jalen.
Yeah, he just the timing of that was all screwed up. It wasn't on Brailsford.
Yeah.
But I think it made Milroe angry, but he played angry the rest of the game, which is what you need to do. You need to execute, do your job, stop shooting your foot off here and letting this team that's inferior to you, good football team, but you're letting them hang around too long.
Yeah.
And so just send them a message, step on their throat. And I thought that's what Alabama did.
Parker Brailsford.
Doing our responsibility, so whatever we had to get done, we were going to do it, and that's really what helped us. Instead of trying to be Superman, trying to be a hero, and trying to do everybody else's job.
There was a lot of adversity you guys have been facing in the line so far. Some injuries or some stuff you guys are trying to figure out. What do you think is going to be key to maybe kind of gel?
Honestly, I don't even think that's the problem. I think we just need to realize that the standard is the standard. No matter who we put in there, we just need to go do what we were supposed to do, which is move and do our job.
How much of a boost did Elijah give you late in the game when he did come in?
Obviously he's a good player. I think it was mainly about us just like talking on the sideline. I think if Wilkin was in there, regardless, we were doing the same thing. I just think it was about all of us together, just one person.
The penalties, what do you guys need to do to correct those?
Obviously we're going to watch it on tomorrow, but just the holding penalties, the stupid things, we just need to be more disciplined. We're going to work on it during practice, obviously, but we're going to get back to it.
What has been the physical?
Honestly, I say it's more mental than anything. Just knowing when you need to let go, knowing when the ball carrier's in front of you, not holding on to the jersey or whatever. It's a very mental game.
That's part of being offensive lineman. You don't get noticed. But if you give up no sacks, a bunch of getting yards, you'll talk about it.
Yeah, honestly, when you guys don't talk about us, that's the best thing. But it is what it is. Like when our running backs, our receivers, quarterback get recognition, I just feel like that's same thing as us. We got to do our job for them to do theirs. So, yeah.
The bad snap. What happened on the bad snap? The communication thing, or just the poor exchange?
I honestly don't know. I got to go back and talk to him more. But I think it was just, I don't know if I didn't hold it in there long enough or what happened, but we'll figure it out.
There is no doubt that, but I was all for, because there were several games where you're down at the goal line, and for me, it's just one of my pet peeves of why you're still in the shotgun when you're so close to the goal line. I thought it was a good thing that Jalen Milroe is under center. Just needs to be practiced more.
Well, my first thought was that they were going to quick snap and he was going to try to sneak it because he's a load. And then if Brailsford can get to the second level, then you're probably going to end up in the end zone. If you get stopped at the 1 inch line or whatever, then go for it and go fast and see if you can get lined up. If you get a penalty, then you kick the field goal. But, I just felt like you had to finish the drive at that point. That was very, very frustrating to let that get away from you. But again, adversity can sometimes make a team grow stronger. They certainly did in this game last year. And hopefully Jalen Milroe learned some things about himself, about his team. And then the biggest thing, though, is Elijah Pritchett, the maturity. He proved he can be a dominant football player when he came in, into in the fourth quarter, the last 6 minutes or so. And they need him for the entire season. Ankle, schmankle, whatever, tape it up and play. I mean, they need you in the lineup, dog, and you've got to do your job. That this team is very, very talented, but every team in college football is now going to have depth issues because of the portal.
Oh yeah.
So if you're I'm going to use a Rodney bias. There you go. I know you didn't think I would come up with this one, Steve Moulton, from the Huntsville flight days.
There you go.
I'll never forget Rodney, one of the best rebounders I've ever seen live. He was like the minor league basketball version of Dennis Rodman. And his situation was, if it ain't broke, got to go. That's what he used to always tell the trainers. Is it broke? No. Well, I got to go and I got to be out there. And so that was Rodney's mindset. And that's kind of what some of these dudes look. You're getting paid. You're making 6 digits, if not $1 million. If it ain't broke, got to go.
I like it. Let's hear from the defense. Quindarius Robinson with a total of 7 tackles, 4 solos, a sack, as well as a tackle for loss. Thought played a very important part in Alabama's win last night.
Where we can just go out there and play, don't have to think too much, and we was able to execute.
Personally, just how do you think you did today?
I left some stuff out there on the field, you know what I'm saying? I need to do better as far as effort and finish, kind of like I just said. And, hopefully we'll be able to clean that up and be ready for Wisconsin.
Excuse me. What's the energy like for Caleb DeBoer on the sideline at halftime when you're kind of getting through some of the struggles you had early this game?
It's kind of different from Coach Saban. Coach Saban, one of those guys to be like, good job. And, just come to the sideline and see Coach DeBoer do smile and hype with you. It's a really good feeling.
So in terms of you on halftime, it's pretty thin margin. Is he yelling and screaming? Is he saying, here's what we need to do better? What was the kind of message from him at halftime?
The message was just keep swinging, you know what I'm saying? Just don't give up, keep going at him, keep hitting him hard, and just don't let up.
How positive was he after the game to the team?
Oh, super positive. He was very he was proud of the win, of course, but of course there's some things we need to work on offensively, defensively, and no such teams.
And Q, I know you're high school coach Vakakis. He spoke very highly of your character when he coached you. Talk about waiting your turn. I mean, Braz did it last year, but talk about waiting your turn and now playing a prominent role.
I think that, I think everybody just needs to have that maturity to understand that, sometimes you might not be the guy, but when your numbers call, you need to just go out there and handle your business, you know what I'm saying? So, today I wasn't started. Quay Rusal was, and he did an excellent job. But switching out with him and Keanu Koo, who also did a great job, just shows that we got, depth in the room, some great guys, some great athletes in there, and just being able to go out there with numbers called and make some plays.
Talk about the adjustment to Kane's system.
Oh, yeah, the adjustment is way easier. Like I said earlier, we just he's putting us in situations where we can just go out there and play. We don't have to think too much.
That is a little bit from Q post-game, courtesy of Jordy Armin right there. The defense was led by Jihad Campbell with 11 tackles, 8 of them solo, including a 1.5 tackle for loss and a half sack as well, 1 breakup. So defense is not getting talked enough about, but I know the offensive line is going to be the story really of the week coming up here for the road trip up to Cheeseland.
Yeah, but I just got to say the defense stood on its head, to use a hockey term.
Yeah,
I mean, they did a great job, and Q's a hell of a leader. I know he's not an official team captain, but you can just tell with his attitude right there. I mean, he could have left 2 years ago. I mean, he had to really wait his turn. He's got 2 sacks now, 1 in each game. And Rusal started, and Rusal's a hell of a talent, maybe the best athlete on this team, but Q has always been a team guy, always been a good special teams player. Now he's playing a more prominent role defensively. Mm-hmm. You got to have guys like him. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a coach at some point. Very, very impressed with him. And I brought up that conversation I had with Coach Vakakis, when he had him at Jackson Olin, and after he committed to Alabama, I had Coach on the show, and he was just very, very complimentary of Q. And Q actually got hurt his senior year of high school too. So he's a kid that's overcome a lot. He got it. He even had a situation off the field during his time at Alabama that he came back from. And so he's just always, been a guy you can count on. In other words, he's there for the right reasons and doing things the right way. And, I just think he is one of the unsung heroes of this football team. Not questioning it when a guy like Q Rusal, a redshirt freshman, Quay Rusal, is starting over him. Hey, just get in there and do your job when you get opportunities, because they're going to rotate a lot of guys. That's another thing I love about Kane Womack and Coach DeBoer. They play a lot of guys.
Yeah, they do.
Get people in there, and so they get a chance to do their thing and showcase their talent. And then I will say this about Tim Keenan too: the guy is a beast. He is the William Vallejos of defense. Both of them, they don't look the part as far as the length, the height, and everything that you would draw up on a board. Like, he is a perfect specimen to play football at the University of Alabama. Tim Keenan is a manhole cover, a fire hydrant. Dude had 9 tackles and 1.5 sacks, and he plays on the interior of the deal. He's becoming the war daddy of that front up, Steve, that they have to account for, because he can play all 3 downs. He is a beast.
Our Bama recap show is presented by Lawlers BBQ. And rather than heading off to a break, let's just thank our fine sponsor of Lawlers BBQ, 256-576-4977, the telephone number, and someone has called in. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, this is Brandon.
Of course, Lawler's biggest fan.
Dude, I'll tell you what, you couldn't get a better sponsor.
I knew you'd be ecstatic about that.
Yeah, but you kept that secret from me. When I heard that the other day, I was like, this is fantastic. I was like, gas station barbecue.
Oh, trust me. Yeah. The potato, the
nachos,
ribs, the ribs. I'm just saying the ribs.
That's Steve's DeBoer.
Oh.
I nominated them for diners, drives, and dine-ins, and they responded to me that time several months ago, but I haven't heard anything since, so I don't know. But I also sent them to True South.
Flavor Town.
I'd love to meet Guy. I'd be over there in a minute.
Yeah, True South is a fantastic show. They're on the SEC network. I can only hope that DirecTV will quickly. I was able to watch yesterday. I was. There was
Freddie Kirby had to go to his mother's house.
There was some magical streams there on YouTube that I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
Steve's got the hookup. He's got the plug.
I'm sorry, Brandon. What's
Go
on
ahead,
your mind,
bro.
sir?
Man, if it ain't Comcast, it's Dish. If it ain't Dish, it's Direct. They're all warring about something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my thoughts last night while watching that game were not verbalized out loud, but it became very obvious when my wife took all the TV remotes and my shoes were gone, and there was nothing within arm's reach or within a 10-foot walk that could be thrown besides the couch.
There you go.
She had completely disarmed the living room because I was furious. And I ain't going to beat Wilkin Formby up too bad because we probably wouldn't have Caden Proctor back if he hadn't gone up there with the
another great point.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't. So I'm just going to say, dude had him a bad game, and at least he picked somebody that even though we pissed our pants and shot our feet off, we were still able to beat them. But if they would have had a quarterback last night, we'd have been in trouble.
Yeah, he's not a great passer, but he is a good athlete. I mean, and I think they'll be a good team in the American. I mean, Byron Brown he's dynamic. I mean, he took a beating and just kept coming. I'll give him credit for that.
Oh, absolutely. He, as far as physical punishment goes, he took as much as anybody could want to take. And then a couple of their guys on their line, they ain't too shabby.
Got good pass rushers.
Yeah, they got some guys on there that's got some technique. They don't have a whole team to be able to finish, especially with not having a quarterback. But, I mean, if they had just a decent quarterback, somebody that could just had a little bit of time and stuff, they would be all right. I'm just glad that physically we were better and we finally got ourselves together there. But that's just a testament to what those free snap penalties can do and what problems they can cause you if you don't get it right. And I mean, we're going up here to Camp Randall. Me and my son are going to fly out Thursday night real late because Scott couldn't go. We're just going to forego a day of school on Friday.
There you go.
We're headed up there to Curdville. We're going to check this out.
We got a correspondent.
I'm hoping for a heck of a lot better. Yeah, I'll try to get y'all an interview if you get me a lanyard to wear. We can make one up or something. I don't care. But I'll get in there and get us some stuff going. But
it's still the Big Ten. I imagine you need more than a pre-made lanyard by some station in Huntsville, Alabama.
You gave me a credential in 2014. We can give Brandon one. He's a great sponsor of Pilcher's Appraisals here.
Yes, he is.
Put your money where you enjoy yourself. That's what I got to say. And I think there's some other people out there that ought to be sponsoring the radio station. Good hometown friendly people you can talk to. I can't think of a better station. But I'm just really hoping that going forward with this team that we're able to put it together. But to me, we have found out. I still think Wilkin Formby might can play guard, but I don't think he's a tackler. I don't think he's a tackle at all. I think there's certain people that can play in. They can play farther inside, but they can't play farther outside.
Well, guys can get better though. So, and still very young in his career too.
It is, and the two best tackles on this team are Pritchett at right tackle and Proctor at left.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the two guys that need to be playing. Wilkin needs some more time to season, rotate him in some. But I mean, again, this is what we've learned.
No doubt that he needs work on his footwork, and he needs a lot of work on a lot of things. But he's just very young. So I'd rather, I'm not just going to go ahead and stamp it and say, maybe he does need to go inside the guard and just learn that. But I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. The most developmental position in college football, period. It's not quarterback.
Yeah.
It's offensive tackle because you got to get stronger. And then you're blocking elite pass rushers. You've got to, you need work on your technique. No high school player comes out. I mean, I was told Tommy Brockermeyer was a 6-star.
Yeah. Oh, what was the kid's name from California that immediately went into the offensive line? And that was maybe his best year.
Jonah Williams.
And
he's now with Arizona.
Yeah.
But I mean, those, you don't grow those on trees.
No.
And even Jonah was probably, in hindsight, a better interior player, but he is a really good tackle as well. He's just one of these guys that can play probably any position.
That's the exception and not the rule.
Yeah, you need to develop as an offensive lineman no matter what. And I just think, and even though, David Sanders, who's going to Tennessee, he's only 260 pounds. He's not going to be able to come in next year and play in the SEC.
Yeah.
You've got to put weight on him and get him better and coach him up.
Brandon, I wanted to get to the SEC as a whole. You got anything else for us, sir?
Was yesterday the Alfred Hitchcock day of the year where all of the stupid losses that you did not expect, like Georgia Tech, they cost me money.
How about Arkansas?
Man,
Arkansas controlled that game.
They just, the second half was horrendous. But no, and then you Freeze.
Oh,
I mean, that
Kentucky.
I think we've now learned Hugh Freeze is not a quarterback developer. He's a play caller. And then I had a chance. It was an epic moment in the press box. Cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame. You just lost the freaking game. Said another word too, but it's all right.
So Auburn's not going to have 3,000-yard receivers this year?
Where was Cam Coleman at the end of the game?
That's exactly.
That's all I got to know.
Exactly what I thought.
I
and
guess
that
he
question
was in the room with Shedeur Sanders.
Well, that question wasn't asked to Hugh Freeze afterwards as well.
He only stayed on the mic for 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
He skedaddled. He did not last long.
No. His usual Monday pressers are 30 minutes.
Oh, I know.
So
this ought to be
that
good.
ought to be entertaining tomorrow.
Well, I mean, and I got to give Brian Matthews credit for owning it. He said this was a complete, utter disaster.
There's no other way to put it.
For the Auburn Tigers.
All right, Brandon. Appreciate the phone call, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
thank you for listening.
See y'all Tuesday.
All right. So, as we've already mentioned, Kentucky looked awful. Arkansas controlled the most part of that game and still lost in double overtime. Yes, double overtime. Texas looked fantastic on the road at Michigan, so much so that the Big Ten crew calling it were just start giving flowers to the Longhorns because Quinn Ewers played a nearly flawless game there at the Big House.
And Steve, you and I both know what kind of stand-up guy that Brent Zvorneman is. And he texted me last night. He said, look, Mississippi State is getting cooked. Can you go ahead and send in your updated poll on your way home? And I did. And
you want to
yeah.
Can you give us the
so
who do you do this for?
I'm doing it for the Houston Chronicle.
Wow.
And it's being they've got correspondents all over the United States, or the SEC especially, but they're doing an SEC power poll every week. And I send this in on Saturday nights after the game.
By the way, kudos to Tennessee as well. But that was a tight game until until NC State turned over the football and just started stubbing on their toe. But Tennessee, to their credit, really took advantage. But let's go through your 16.
Okay, number 1, Georgia, no change at the top.
Yep.
I had a flip at 2 and 3 because of how impressive Texas was on the road in the big overrated. Texas is number 2, Alabama number 3, Ole Miss 4, Tennessee 5, Missouri 6, Oklahoma 7, and here I go here. Hell is not freezing over. 8, the Vanderbilt Commodores.
How about that?
Now they've gone from 16 to 9. Sorry, Jeff from the Borough. The South Carolina Gamecocks after laying waste to the Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky looked awful.
And now the rest of these are all one-loss teams, so you have to make up your mind. 10 Texas A&M, 11 LSU, 12 Arkansas, because I really thought they still should have won the game. I mean, they just kind of gave it away. Florida 13, Auburn Tigers 14, because I thought it was an atrocious effort.
And
then I almost had to I did this early because they were getting cooked, but they almost came back. But I put Kentucky 15 and then Mississippi State 16. I almost wanted to flip those two.
Kentucky looked awful. I did not see the Mississippi State game.
Well, see, they were down 30-0, and they turned it to they cut it to 30-23 and ended up losing the game. But so I still went with them 16. But them and Kentucky are right neck and neck. I mean, Kentucky, that was atrocious. That may have been the worst loss of the Stoops era, considering how long he's been there.
Yeah,
that was bad. I mean, I was shocked that South Carolina hammered them at Kroger Field. I mean, I was joking in the press box. I guess all the fans are leaving in the fourth quarter to go see Mark Pope. They're going to see Mark Pope and thank them for buying Jasper Johnson for $1.3 to $1.5 million. Because they only care about basketball anyway. They do have a nice fan base in football. But I'm going to tell you, Jeff, you will never, ever win a football championship at Kentucky, son. Ever.
And Kentucky now gets ready for the Georgia Bulldogs coming up this week.
Have fun with that.
Well, I don't think Kentucky is that bad. I really don't. And they're going to get a pretty big chewing, I would say, this week. A lot of SEC games. Now, how about game day? Going to Columbia, South Carolina, LSU at South Carolina. The other conference games are Texas A&M at Florida. As I mentioned, Georgia at Kentucky. But Alabama visiting Wisconsin is an 11 a.m. kick, which means pregame starts at 8 a.m. this Saturday.
Well, I'll just say this. If you want me to give game balls, I give a game ball to Milroe for stepping up. Tim Keenan on defense, no doubt about it. And then special teams wise, Jalen Mbakwe for that key punt return.
A big thank you again to Lawlers BBQ for presenting this Bama recap show. We will be back here next Sunday. Falcon football comes up next.